those who can't, attend live. This will be in the app probably tomorrow because right after this, I got to go in again for another shift. So it's chaos. But I will also put in the ebook that accompanies this class into the app. Once again, it's probably going to be tomorrow morning, so I'm going to have to jet straight from here to work. I will do it if I can, but I don't know if I'll have enough time. It takes me about 20 minutes or so to get all of this into the app. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today's class is vitamins, minerals, and nutrient deficiencies. I just kind of combined a lot of different things into this one because this is something that people ask me about all the time. I see some chats popping up, but I can't really access those at this time because I'm screen sharing. At the end of the class, I plan on having a lengthy Q&A session because people just have a lot of questions about specific vitamins, minerals, nutrients, what they need to take, what's unnecessary. So we will have time for all of that. Save your questions till the end, or you can put them in the chat now and I'll just read it at the end. I just can't see them currently. Okay, so welcome to Regenesis RX. This is where I teach a class or two every month, just covering different health-related topics. Next month, we will be talking about aging skincare. That is another super popular topic that I get asked about all the time. We do skincare within the pharmacy, of course, but then it's also like a pet passion project of mine personally. I am in my 40s, going through perimenopause myself currently, so I understand a lot of these skin changes that come with aging skin. And I do tons of research on the side, even outside of pharmacy for that. So I want to just share all that knowledge with you guys. Okay. Oh, ebook available in the app later on. Check that out. Okay, as far as introductions, hi, I'm Pharmacist Jamie. You guys all know me, I'm sure, probably from social media or from my app. I've been a pharmacist for over a decade. I've worked in compounding pharmacy, retail pharmacy, and now clinical pharmacy. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything. And I just really love helping people. That is my biggest passion, is helping others to live their healthiest life. That's kind of my tagline. What are we going to cover today? Obviously, vitamins, minerals, and nutrient deficiencies, but we're going to talk about, sorry, that's one of my kids. We're going to talk about why this is important. Is this even a problem that you should be concerned about? Most of you here are in the developed world where we have access to plenty of nutrition. So are you even deficient in anything? Is this even a thing you need to worry about? We're also going to talk about why this is important. We're going to talk about how this happens. Sorry, guys, trying to go through my PowerPoint here. We're going to talk about how this happens. How on earth can we end up deficient in these key nutrients? And hopefully, how can we prevent future deficiencies? We're going to talk about the most common deficiencies, the things that I see most often personally in labs, and then also statistics. We're going to talk about what the research shows people are most often deficient in. We're also going to talk about the most common wastes of money, because boy, are there a lot of those. Yes, there are a lot of super scammy products out there that are just totally unnecessary and sometimes even harmful. So we're going to get into that. And I'm also going to let you guys know what I take, because that is another question I get asked continuously. Well, what do you take, Pharmacist Jamie? As a pharmacist, as someone who constantly is doing this research, what do you prioritize? So I'll tell you about my regimen as well. Okay, standard disclaimer. Guys, I'm not your personal healthcare provider, at least the vast majority of you. I don't know your health history. I don't know the medications you're currently taking. So do not take anything here as like a prescription specifically for you. This is just for educational and informational purposes. Take this information, have a discussion with your healthcare provider, and make sure that anything I suggest here is not going to have an interaction with any of your medications or your current disease states, etc. Okay, let's jump right into it. Why is this important? Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to keep bouncing back and forth because I got to keep letting people into the room. I've got two different screens here. This is my Zoom screen. This is my PowerPoint screen. Okay, so why is this important? Well, estimates vary wildly as to how common nutrient deficiencies are, but at the bare minimum, about 2 billion people worldwide currently have nutrient deficiencies. And that estimate is from the most conservative and optimistic traditional medicine world. Okay. That is from the people who basically think, oh, supplements are total crap, totally unnecessary. You know, you don't need any of that stuff. Just eat healthy and exercise. Very traditional conservative medicine. Even those people suggest that it is a minimum of 2 billion people. All right, now non-conservative estimates from more like the functional medicine world, or people who kind of think outside the box more when it comes to these types of things, they suggest that up to 90% of Americans in particular, because in America we tend to have like the worst modern diet, unfortunately, as compared to places like Europe and whatnot. But they suggest that up to 90% of Americans have nutrient deficiencies. I personally think that 90% is too high based on just the labs that I see, because I order labs and I read labs all the time as a pharmacist. I think that's a little extreme, but I think that it's a lot more common than people realize. This just isn't something that's on a lot of people's radar. They just kind of think, well, I eat reasonable food, I'm probably good to go. Not necessarily the case, and we will get into some of the reasons for that in a bit. Now, nutrient deficiencies become very common as we age and as we take medications. So the digestive system ages just like the rest of you. All right, the same way that your joints used to like flex easily, no effort, no problem. Now they might be a little stiff or painful in the morning. It might require more effort to stay mobile. You get more sore easily. You may need to sometimes take, an NSAID or Tylenol to help your joints feel better. That is the same way that your digestive tract ages as well. Your digestive tract used to easily grab all of the good stuff from food as a child, no effort required on your part. It can just get all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals out of what you eat, no problem. I think it's funny because people are always so worried about their kids. Like, my kids only eat chicken nuggets. Are they getting enough nutrients? Do they need to take vitamins? Do they need this? Do they need that? And I will say that the pediatric digestive tract is like just a high functioning, well-oiled machine. Okay. Kids are amazing at getting nutrients, minerals, everything. They will suck it all out of whatever you feed to them. Generally, most kids don't have nutrient deficiencies unless they're in certain areas of the world where they're very nutrient deprived. Sometimes if we see kids raised in like a vegan lifestyle and they're not supplementing certain things, but in general, kids tend to not have issues because their digestive tract is just functioning at the best that it ever will in their entire lifetime. The parents and the grandparents are the ones who generally need to be more concerned, just because the digestive tract doesn't function as well as you age. All of those little microvilli, they get less and less. They're less able to do things. It ages just like the rest of your body. Okay. So your digestive tract in your 40s and 50s, it's not going to be like when you were 20. All right. So just keep that in mind. Oh, hold on. Let me let in more people here. Now, also, many of the common medications that people take as we age, just because as you age, you need to take certain medications to keep yourself functioning at an ideal level. Those meds can deplete key nutrients. They can also cause hypochlorhydria. We're going to get into all of this in great detail in a minute, so just kind of keep that thought in the back of your brain. But those are a few of the reasons why this can become an issue. And one thing that I want to make very clear is that nutrient deficiencies almost never kill you. Okay. You're not going to see as a cause of death on someone's death certificate lack of vitamin D, right? So this isn't necessarily life threatening per se. But when we look at the major causes of death in the developed world, like cancer and cardiovascular disease, for example, nutrient deficiencies, hold on, let me let in some people here. Nutrient deficiencies accelerate those disease processes and set you up for losing the battle and getting extremely sick or potentially even dying from something else. Not the nutrient deficiency itself, but the nutrient deficiency is going to weaken your system and lead you to failure in other areas. It's really like COVID. Okay, so, back when COVID was extremely virulent and, people are getting COVID right, left, and center. If you were healthy, generally not a big deal, right? It was like a cold, or you might not even have any symptoms at all because your body is functioning well. It could just handle it, no problem. And those people who had a lot of issues going into getting COVID, they are the ones who had the problems. So on their death certificate, it listed COVID, right? But they probably wouldn't have died for COVID, except for the fact that they had all of these other conditions going on. They had respiratory diseases, they had other issues. So really it was a compound thing. That is the same situation that we see with nutrient deficiencies. Being deficient in key nutrients just sets you up for more stress and strain with everything else. Okay, like on your death certificate, it's not going to say lack of vitamin D, but not having vitamin D, not having iron, not having B12 is going to stress your body out and just make you less prepared for whatever else comes your way that can cause major problems, maybe even death. All right, another thing that I think is important to keep in mind, and those of you who attended my weight class, you already know this, but being deficient in nutrients can also lead to weight gain. Your body is great at asking for what it needs. Your body has tons of hormones and other levers that it can pull to let you know, hey, I need this. This is what I need. Give it to me now. Thirst is the best possible example of this. Your body will force you to drink by making you so thirsty that you cannot think about anything else but that next drop of water. Anyone who has been very dehydrated or just super thirsty, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like you will literally murder someone just to get to a glass of water, right? So that is just an example of your body screaming out for what it needs. And your body does the same thing for key nutrients. And how do we get nutrients? Food. Okay, so sometimes your body will give you certain cravings like chocolate if you're low in magnesium, red meat if you're low in iron, but often your body will just ask you for more. It'll just say, give me more food. I need more nutrients. We need more. And that is why so many people who are suffering from nutrient deficiencies here in the US often have overnutrition, that's too many calories and weight gain, and malnutrition, a lack of key nutrients in the same person. I'm telling you, this is hand in hand. This is what I see all day, every day. Most people who are overweight also have malnutrition, which is just kind of shocking. You know, you think that if you're just eating a ton of food, that you have access to plenty of nutrients. Not necessarily the case. You may not be absorbing those nutrients, or you may be eating just a super, super low quality diet that doesn't have enough nutrients. So the body will just keep screaming for more and more and more food. And it will not stop screaming until it gets the depletions taken care of and the missing nutrients into your body. So why set yourself up for failure by just constantly having to deal with cravings? Okay, so how does this happen in the first place? How can we end up deficient in nutrients in the developed world where we just have access to basically unlimited food? One of the reasons is hypochlorhydria. The definition of hypochlorhydria is not enough stomach acid, not acidic enough stomach acid. And we really need digestive fire and acid to properly break down food and to release key nutrients. This is the chemical breakdown of food. So your stomach will kind of churn the food around, and you chew it up. So that's the physical breakdown. But you need that chemical component to break it down into like the molecular level, or else you're not going to be able to access those nutrients. The most common cause of hypochlorhydria is going to be people taking a PPI or a proton pump inhibitor. The most common one I see is omeprazole. You'll also see Nexium. If you're taking that type of medication, or also just very, very frequent antacids, sometimes people just pop antacids all day long. They don't necessarily take the PPI. Either one of those, and especially the combination, will absolutely cause hypochlorhydria. Also, H. pylori, that's another thing that can lead to hypochlorhydria. H. pylori is an infection within your stomach that eventually will lead to ulcers and even stomach cancer if not treated. H. pylori is one of my favorite things to test people for, because if you've got H. pylori, you're going to have problems everywhere throughout your body. Age, that's another thing. So as we age, our body is just less capable of making that very intense digestive fire. We want the pH of our stomach to be like 1 to 2, extremely, incredibly acidic, like battery acid level acidity, right? And as we age, people just tend to be more in like the 3 to 4 range. Not good. It's not going to help you to chemically break down your food properly. Bariatric surgery is another common cause of hypochlorhydria. If you've got bariatric surgery, that's something that you're going to have to deal with the rest of your life. You may need to address that. And also stress. Even just stress can lead to this. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. And alcohol as well. Guys, alcohol is going to throw off your entire digestive tract. I'm not a fan of alcohol. Yes, I partake in it occasionally myself, but I really try to abstain most of the time. If you're someone who is drinking on the daily, just know that it is probably going to cause problems, especially as you age. It's not something we notice in our 20s and 30s. And those of you who have already hit that level of your life, your 40s and 50s and beyond, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All the things you used to do that were no problem are suddenly a problem. Okay, so the signs of low stomach acid are usually bloating, indigestion, gas, heartburn. Heartburn is the big one. A lot of people think that heartburn is due to too much stomach acid. It is most often due to not enough stomach acid. Please refer back to the heartburn class. If you're within the app, I taught like a whole hour and a half long class on this where we get into the mechanism of action and all that. We don't have time for that today, but very important to understand. Upset stomach is another symptom, and undigested food in the stool. If you see anything like that, 9 out of 10 times you've got hypochlorhydria that you need to address. The best thing that you can do is to ask your doctor for an official test, get that diagnosis, and get it handled. Now, if you want to just do like a little at-home test to get an idea for yourself, it's not going to count as a diagnosis, but sometimes it's nice just to see, am I on the right track? You can do the baking soda test. So for the baking soda test, you take a quarter to a half a teaspoon of baking soda, put it in a cold glass of water, like 4 to 8 ounces, and drink that first thing in the morning before you eat or drink anything else. Now you need to time how long it takes you to burp. Okay. I know it's kind of gross, but it is what it is. You should be burping within 1 to 2 minutes. And you should keep burping. Sometimes people drink the glass of water, swallow a little bit of air, do one little burp. They're like, oh, I'm fine. No, like you need to continuously burp. And then okay, this is actually due to the stomach acid. If you do not burp within 1 to 2 minutes, you probably have hypochlorhydria, which means that you are not getting enough nutrients and even protein from your food. You're getting all the calories, but you're not getting the important good stuff that keeps you healthy. Now, how can you fix hypochlorhydria? Number one, get off the PPI and get off the antacids. Consult with your doctor before you do this, okay? Because this is not an option for everyone. For example, if you have Barrett's esophagus, you're going to have to stay on a PPI forever. It is what it is. We need to prevent stomach cancer, period. But for many people, they are unnecessarily taking PPIs long term. This is a medication that is meant to only be used for 2 weeks at a time. And most people don't even realize that. They're just taking one every single day with no clue the damage that they are doing. Another thing you can do is add in betaine and or digestive enzymes. This is what I had to do. I've got celiac as well as Hashimoto's. So I have major issues with hypochlorhydria. I added that into my routine. Everything became immediately better. Okay, another way that this can happen is inadequate intake. This can be due to poor food supply. So this is the most common reason for nutrient deficiencies in the developing world, or sometimes we'll even see food deserts here, even in the developed world where people just don't have access to high quality food. It can be due to poor food choices. Now, your food choices have to be really, really, really bad to get to this level. Because generally, our bodies try to suck the nutrients out of every single thing we give it, even if it's just chicken nuggets. But if you are just eating candy all day long, you're not going to get the nutrients that you need. Feeding and swallowing difficulties is another thing that can happen. Sometimes as we age, we've just got issues there. And you know what I'm talking about if you have this, if you've just got problems with food, feeling like it's stuck in your throat, or you just have problems where you just get too full too quickly, you're not eating enough. Things of that nature can also cause inadequate intake. This is much less of a problem in the developed world, but it is possible to eat an absolutely terrible diet and end up nutrient deficient. All right, the next thing is going to be depleting medications. If you are not a subscriber to my app is called Pharmacist Jamie's Tips. go ahead and screenshot this, take a picture with your phone, do whatever you need to do. I'm not going to sit here and read through this list. That's very boring. You guys can see it there for yourself. If you're in the app, don't worry about it, you guys. All of this information is in the handy little ebook that you will be getting within the app, probably tomorrow morning once I get off work. Tonight, if I can, fingers crossed. But as you can see, those are all of the medications that can deplete different things. And I do want you to notice that a lot of medications deplete magnesium. That's why you're always hearing people talking about magnesium, because it's just very easy for it to get depleted. We generally get, enough magnesium, but it's just constantly being depleted, and therefore supplementation is very often beneficial for a lot of people. And also notice that antacids and PPIs deplete absolutely everything. They just ruin your body's ability to keep your micronutrients at a decent level without adding in supplementation or even prescriptions at times. Sorry, guys. My kids are in the background. I always tell them to be quiet, but it is what it is. The parents in here understand. All right, let's talk about the most common deficiencies. Number one is going to be iron. A lot of times this surprises people, but yes, many, many people are deficient in iron. 47% of children, 30% of women, and 42% of pregnant women are deficient in iron. This is mostly an issue with women and children. Men don't have to worry about this near as much, but vegans and vegetarians also can have an issue with iron. A lot of our iron is within meat. The most common symptoms of iron deficiency are tiredness, weakness, impaired immune system, impaired brain function, and anemia. And guys, I really want to emphasize how tired anemia can make you. Okay, on a personal note, my poor daughter, my oldest daughter, she had horrible anemia to the point that she actually required multiple infusions over a period of months. It took forever to get her back within a healthy range. And I didn't even have any idea this was going on. It was caused by celiac, something that I never even considered for our family because our digestive health appeared to be perfectly fine on the surface level until we did more advanced testing. The only sign that she had of anemia was just extreme tiredness. She was exhausted going to school. She didn't want to do homework or chores. She dropped out of her after school activities. She's just like, Mom, I'm so tired. Like, it's hard to even go to school. I don't want to do anything else. And I just kind of assumed that it was a preteen laziness issue, to be totally honest with you. I realized one day that things were not right when we went to Busch Gardens, the little roller coaster theme park. And she was so tired that she had to keep sitting down just on the side of the sidewalk. That's when I was like, okay, this is not normal. Like, we're at a fun place. This isn't like chores or homework. What is going on? So we did testing and we found the really, really horrible anemia. So please do not ignore exhaustion in yourself or your loved ones and just assume, oh, it's stress or it's laziness or I'm just getting older. Guys, do the testing, get to the bottom of what is going on. You do not have to live like that. 10 out of 10 times, fatigue and exhaustion is due to something medical, whether it is hypothyroidism, anemia, a number of other things can lead to exhaustion. All right, so try to get it looked into, talk to your doctor. A lot of these tests are such simple little blood tests. You fast, you go in, it's paid for by your insurance. Get to the bottom of what's going on, have them run the panels. Now, I also want to emphasize that too much iron is dangerous. So please don't randomly start taking supplements without doing the proper testing and getting guidance from your doctor. Too much iron can actually poison your organs and joints and lead to major health issues. All right, this is not something that you want to be doing willy-nilly on your own without any type of help. Where can we get iron from food? If you are opposed to supplements, you just want to go the all-natural route, totally understandable. Meat, beans, some seeds, and dark leafy greens are the best sources of iron. We all associate iron with red meat. That is for good reason. If you do decide to supplement your iron, take it with vitamin C. That is greatly going to help the absorption. Avoid taking it with other minerals. Never take minerals together. All of the minerals fight with each other. So minerals are going to be things like calcium, magnesium, and iron. They all need to be separated from one another. Okay, they will outcompete, they will fight, and then you're not going to be getting the nutrients from your food or your supplement. If you decide to take an iron supplement, it is best taken on an empty stomach, but most people can't do that because it can really upset your stomach and cause other digestive issues. So you probably will have to take it with food, which will slightly decrease the absorption, but at least then it makes it doable. And iron comes in a lot of different forms, you guys. You can get it in even like little chewable gummy type things, in just the typical pill, whatever. The slow release tends to be easier to get along with if you have stomach issues with the traditional iron. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is vitamin D. This is a fat soluble vitamin that has many jobs. It honestly travels all over the bloodstream and into all kinds of cells. Almost every single cell in your body has a receptor for vitamin D. It just does all the things. And not having it up to proper levels is a huge problem. In the United States, it's estimated that 42% of people are deficient in vitamin D, 74% of seniors. As we age, our skin is not able to make vitamin D the same way. This is a major, major issue in seniors, and vitamin D is so associated with bone health. All right, it is not a coincidence that osteoporosis tends to be, in the older age, and that we also are not able to do vitamin D. Of course, it's also related to things like estrogen depletion and menopause, but vitamin D is a big part of that picture as well. And 82% of dark-skinned people are deficient in vitamin D. Now, I just think it's so interesting. I just love looking into like history and genetics and stuff like that. So I'm going to nerd out on you guys for one quick minute. This is a little bit of a tangent, but it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating how important vitamin D is for the body. So originally, all humans had dark skin. We all had a lot more melanin than some of us have now. But the groups of people who traveled up into more northern areas where there is less drastic sunlight, so like Northern Europe, Asia, and beyond, those people started developing lighter skin tones for one clear reason that we know of. This is what scientists hypothesize is like the only reason that makes sense for why we started developing such pale skin. It is because of vitamin D production. People with lighter skin tones make vitamin D much quicker with sun exposure. That is why you see that the average of all of the US citizens, it's only 42% versus 82% of dark skinned people, because we can stand outside in the sun for 20 minutes and have plenty of vitamin D. Versus someone who has a lot more melanin in their skin, they need to spend hours out in the sun to make the same amount of vitamin D. And lighter skin is a net negative health-wise in so many ways. People with lighter skin are more prone to sun damage. They are more prone to skin cancer. They are more prone, stop it, baby. I'm teaching a class, hold on. Sorry, guys, my daughter. They are more prone to DNA damage. Like literally the sun hitting our skin affects us on the cellular level, more prone to folate depletion. There are all of these negative things that are associated with paler skin. But boy, you make vitamin D like a champion. So your body, our bodies basically said all of these other negative things are worth it because vitamin D is that important. So that just shows you how critically important it is for you to get vitamin D. Really, really difficult to get it from food. The way that we get vitamin D is either through sun exposure, or if you're someone like me who obsessively wears SPF and wants to protect our skin from aging, through supplementation. Those are the ways that you basically get vitamin D. So keep that in mind and make sure that you're getting enough vitamin D to keep your body healthy and happy. All right, enough of that little tangent and nerding out on you. So some signs of vitamin D deficiency include muscle weakness. That is huge. I've worked with elderly populations before, and boy, you can tell someone who has severe muscle weakness is almost always deficient in vitamin D. We test their levels, we see it, we supplement, we get them up into a nice high range, and all of a sudden they have so much better functioning with just changing that one thing. Bone loss, that is the other big thing. Vitamin D and osteoporosis, they go hand in hand. If you don't have enough vitamin D, you are setting yourself up for failure. Increased fractures as we age and decreased immune function. In fact, lots of studies point to the fact that high vitamin D levels were protective against severe COVID-19. So those people who worked outside, who just had that constant sun exposure, or people who just had proper vitamin D levels, period, because they were supplementing or whatnot, they statistically fared far better when it came to severe COVID-19 disease, probably because we know that vitamin D is such a key player in immune system health. And I cannot stress enough how important proper vitamin D levels are to protect bones and prevent osteoporosis. People focus so much on calcium, while vitamin D is a much, much better predictor of bone health. Now, as I said earlier, vitamin D is produced from cholesterol in the skin with exposure to sunlight. Difficult to get through diet. Can't really tell you, oh yeah, eat this and you'll have plenty of vitamin D. It's practically impossible. Proper testing and supplementation is a good idea for absolutely everyone. It is fat soluble, which means that it can accumulate in tissues if you're getting way too much of it. That is very, very rare, but it is possible. So like if you're someone who's working out, no, baby, I'm teaching a class. No, go. So if you're working outside 12 hours a day and then you're starting to take a bunch of vitamin D supplements, technically, yes, it can become toxic in your tissues. Very, very rare. I've personally never seen it happen, but theoretically possible. And oftentimes a prescription strength is needed if someone is very deficient. So the levels that you'll see over the counter tend to be like 1,000 to 5,000, maybe 10,000 units. The one that we have that is prescription strength is 50,000 units. So sometimes that is required to get you where you need to be, especially if you're older or have darker skin. Take any prescription or supplement vitamin D with fat in order to increase absorption. So take it with a little bit of olive oil or meat that has some fat in it, or avocado, egg yolks, something that is going to help you to absorb the vitamin D. I personally take the vitamin D with my omega-3. Boom, 1-2 punch, takes care of everything. All right. B12, this is a water-soluble vitamin. This means that you can't really get too much of it, which is nice. You'll just pee it out if you get too much. It will not accumulate in your tissues like fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D. So that's lovely. And B12 is interesting because your body cannot make it. It's not like vitamin D where your body can make it. You have to get it from food. It's not something that you can just create on your own. And you really, really need B12. It is essential for blood formation and nerve function, two of the most important things that our body does. It's estimated that about 20% of US citizens are deficient, and up to 90% of vegetarians are deficient. B12 is only found in animal products. So vegetarians and vegans have to supplement B12. I have seen so many vegetarians and vegans not know this and end up in pain, really, because of this, or sometimes even face really dire consequences. Signs of B12 deficiency include megaloblastic anemia. This is a blood disorder that enlarges your blood cells really bad. Also impaired brain function and elevated homocysteine levels. Homocysteine levels elevation, that is linked to all kinds of disease. We've talked about this in other classes. Once again, very complicated. I don't really have the time to get into it here. Check back in the other classes if you did not attend those, but super, super interesting stuff. B12 deficiency is also associated with nerve pain. That is the number one thing that we see, and also fatigue. 9 out of 10 times when someone has nerve pain, if they start taking B12, it improves. Sometimes it goes away entirely. Sometimes it does not go away entirely, but it'll be improved. It is certainly worth asking your doctor about adding B12 to your regimen if you have nerve pain, especially if you want to get the prescription strength, which is the best way. There's an injection. That is the quickest and best way to bring up your B12 levels, full stop. So it is worth a chat with your doctor. The biggest sources of B12 food-wise include shellfish, organ meat, eggs, and milk. And B12 is depleted by metformin. That is the big thing. Metformin and B12 deficiency and nerve pain. That is just like a vicious little cycle there. You can nip it in the bud and stay on your metformin by supplementing with B12. And birth control. Birth control is another thing that can drastically deplete B12. Here we go. Let people in here. As far as supplementation, the sublingual methylcobalamin is the superior form. So that's the kind that goes under your tongue, and it's the methylcobalamin. The oral cyanocobalamin is just not near as effective. It's not well absorbed. B12, you got to get the sublingual or the injections that I spoke about earlier. That's even better. Sorry, guys, my voice sounds horrible. I hope you guys can understand me well. All right, magnesium is the next thing we're going to talk about. This is a mineral essential for bone and teeth structure. It is involved in more than 300 enzyme reactions. 70% of people in the US are deficient. That is wild. So many medications deplete magnesium, like I mentioned earlier. If you take almost any prescription medication, you probably need to be thinking about supplementing magnesium. Some signs of magnesium deficiency include type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, osteoporosis, abnormal heart rhythm, muscle cramps, restless leg syndrome, fatigue. Fatigue is the big one because magnesium is required for all of those energy reactions in the body, migraines, and high blood pressure. This is a very serious side effect list, okay? We're not just talking about some aches and pains. We're talking about metabolic syndrome, heart disease. You want to stay on top of your magnesium levels. Some food sources of magnesium include whole grains, nuts, dark chocolate, and dark leafy greens, if you want to try and go the all-natural route. If you decide to supplement magnesium, it can help with sleep on top of all the other wonderful things it does. So it's best taken about an hour before bed if possible. And glycinate is the best form. You guys know that there are tons of different forms of magnesium. There's magnesium citrate, magnesium oxide, blah, blah, blah. Glycinate is the best for absorption. It's well absorbed and it has less GI side effects. Avoid taking it with other minerals like iron and calcium, same idea as before. And yeah, I really want to emphasize, don't take this with calcium. I see so many supplements out there that are like bone health supplement and it's got magnesium and calcium. I see tons of multivitamins that have magnesium and calcium. Don't do that. I hate that. Magnesium will outcompete the calcium and may even cause the calcium to build up in your arteries. This is terrible. We don't want calcium in our arteries. I hope that you can see why that would be a problem. It should be self-evident. All right, omega-3 is the next thing I want to talk about. This is a type of polyunsaturated fatty acid. In the standard American or Western diet, we have an overabundance of omega-6 fatty acids, which are pro-inflammatory or increase inflammation. And we have a relative deficiency of omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce inflammation. Omega-6s are in things like seed oils. Get plenty of that in the American diet, especially if you ever go out to eat. That's where I tend to have issues with seed oils. I don't really have it in my home, but boy, I do like to get my Uber Eats and I like to go out on the town sometimes. And basically anytime you go out, you're just going to get doused in omega-6s. Also eggs, mayo, things that we just tend to get a lot of in the standard Western diet. Omega-3s are in things like fish, especially fatty fish, flax seeds, and chia seeds. So things that we just generally don't get near as much of. Signs of omega-3 deficiency include skin irritation and dryness. In one study, giving people omega-3 for 20 weeks significantly improved their eczema clinically. Very, very cool. It's also been shown to help acne. I know it's kind of weird. We associate acne with oil, and omega-3 is like an oily substance. So like in my brain, it doesn't really make sense, but we do see it in the data and the research that omega-3 can help with acne. So something you can also think about giving your teenagers if that's something that they're struggling with. We also see that omega-3 deficiency can lead to depression and neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's, for example. Those of you who attended the Preventing Dementia class, you know that this is the only supplement that I said is linked to preventing or helping Alzheimer's. This is the only one. All that other stuff that says like, oh, it can help with cognitive decline, dementia, BS, all right? Omega-3 is the only one that shows any type of actual link. Dry eyes is another sign of omega-3 deficiency. Doctors will often prescribe omega-3 prescriptions or even supplement to help with alleviating dry eyes. I see it all the time. Also, joint pain and stiffness. Omega-3s are very anti-inflammatory. They can help both rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. Hair changes. That is another sign of omega-3 deficiency. People who own pets, you probably are already familiar with this. A lot of times we will see omega-3 given to pets to help with coat shine and luster. It can help prevent hair breakage. For omega-3, you can actually get a prescription from your doctor, in which case it may be free of charge. I love the prescription omega-3. If you can access it, wonderful. Or if you decide to get the supplement form, choose one that is in the triglyceride form rather than the ethyl ester form. The triglyceride form is far superior. If it doesn't say that it's triglyceride, it's probably ethyl ester, okay? So go for one that specifically says it is in the triglyceride form. I also wanted to mention turmeric briefly. This is not something that you get deficient in. This is not required for your body to function, but I just wanted to mention it because it is a really nice supplement that I like. It's really, really helpful for joint pain and arthritis. It actually performs as well as NSAIDs. So that's things like Aleve or ibuprofen. It performs as well as those in clinical trials without the horrible side effects and long-term damage. I will say that not everyone tolerates turmeric. Some people have digestive issues with it. It can be a little too fiery for some people. So this may not be for you, but it is something that I always kind of keep there in my back pocket as one of my most recommended supplements for a lot of people, for my patients. Okay, so let's talk about the most common supplements that are a waste of money. Let me save you some money. Vitamin C. Guys, we generally don't need vitamin C. It's everywhere. Okay. Like it's everywhere. Everything that we eat is fortified with vitamin C. It is in all the fruits, all the veggies. It's in everything. Okay. We usually get tons of it in our diet. It's also easily absorbed. So the problem with a lot of these things like B12, for example, our body has issues absorbing B12. It's just difficult, right? Vitamin C, your body just sucks it right up. Okay. So not really required for most people. If you want to take a little vitamin C, if you feel like you're getting sick for a couple days, go for it, whatever. You know, I'm not here to stop you, but it's just not necessary. And also something else to keep in mind is that high doses of vitamin C over long periods of time. So if you're taking it for a few days when you feel under the weather, that's fine. But if you're continuously taking high dose vitamin C every day, it can contribute to kidney stones. And people are always talking about, oh, well, what about Lynn Pauling and this and that? Guys, the IV form is different from taking it orally. Okay. If you're taking it orally, that is where you're going to see it causing issues with kidney stones and whatnot. So don't come at me with all of this. That's something that I have to deal with continuously on my social media. Let me tell you, for most people, high dose vitamin C long-term, very bad idea, not to mention a waste of money. Calcium. Studies show that it's not helpful in supplement form. It can actually deposit into arteries rather than bones. The long-term data on calcium supplementation is just abysmal. We see that magnesium, vitamin D, and resistance training are linked to bone health so much more than calcium supplementation. So this is a conversation worth having with your doctor if you're taking calcium supplements. Now, a lot of times doctors will basically require you to take calcium if you're taking like alendronate, for example. But other than that particular situation, I always question calcium supplementation. The data just isn't there. Prevagen. Okay, those of you who have attended any of my classes, I'm sure you've already heard about this. This is my least favorite supplement of all time. It's a complete and total failure on every level. Even just the mechanism of action makes no sense. They're basically saying, okay, we need to get this really huge protein up into your brain because this protein can scavenge free calcium in the brain and prevent Alzheimer's. That part is true. However, you cannot get a massive protein in a pill form all the way through your digestive tract unchanged up into your brain. Your stomach is going to immediately break apart any protein and digest it. It's not going to go through your digestive tract. And then to say, okay, now somehow this massive protein made it through the digestive system totally unchanged. Now it's in your bloodstream. Impossible. Now it's going to travel up and cross the blood-brain barrier. No, just no. That's physically impossible. And even Prevagen's own data shows it. They did a clinical trial proving that their product is worthless and that it did nothing. There you go. And then also we have third-party independent testing proving the same thing. People who take the supplement have absolutely no change other than they are poorer because the supplement is incredibly expensive. So Prevagen, worst of all time. I will always get on my soapbox about Prevagen. I just feel like it's such a scam. Balance of nature. You guys have probably already heard me talk about them. And also a lot of these greens powders in general. I mean, if you're taking some super cheap green powder, whatever, not necessary, but whatever. Balance of nature happens to be ridiculously expensive as well as just completely worthless. Guys, just eat your fruits and veggies. Okay. It doesn't take many fruits and veggies to get all these nutrients. You can eat like one fruit and one veggie a day, and you're probably going to get all the nutrients you need. More is better. Don't get me wrong. If you're eating multiple servings of fruits and veggies, awesome. Big thumbs up from me. But people tend to overestimate like how much they need to eat. to fill in the gaps in their diet. And it's like, guys, just grab an apple and you're probably going to be okay. All right. These crazy balance of nature and greens powders, they're just multivitamins. That's all that they are. A lot of times they've got conflicting ingredients anyway. It's just, no, it's just not necessary, especially if you're paying a lot of money for them. Okay, now what do I take? I take digeszymes before every meal. My digeszymes have the betaine in them because I have issues with hypochlorhydria. You guys know my health history. Hypochlorhydria is associated with hypothyroidism in particular, which I have. I've got Hashimoto's hypothyroid. Ugh. Try to say that 10 times fast. So I try to keep the hypochlorhydria in check with taking that digestive enzyme that has the betaine in it. I also take a methylated B vitamin every morning. I'm not a poor methylator, but I figure why not? Let's just go ahead and do it. If you haven't done the testing and you don't know if you're a poor methylator, I suggest always just grabbing the methylated B vitamins just to be on the safe side. I also take Omega Vale Ultra with D and K. That is the designs. I mean, all of these things that I take are designs for health because that's my favorite supplement line. It's third-party tested, high quality ingredients. I love everything about them. That's just me personally. You can also find other third-party tested brands on labdoor.com. If Designs for Health is not your jam, there are plenty of resources out there. But I like the Omega Vale. That is basically an omega-3 supplement that also has vitamin D and vitamin K together, all in one supplement. So that way I'm taking the vitamin D with a fatty meal. The K is also going to help the absorption. I love my omega-3s. I think they're super, super important anti-inflammatories. I tend to be inflammatory anyway between my celiac and my Hashimoto's. So I want to bring down the inflammation as much as possible. I also take a magnesium glycinate complex, 300 milligrams, 1 hour before bed. I think that it helps me to sleep better. I take levothyroxine. So I just want to make sure that my magnesium is staying where it needs to be. I feel like that's helpful. And I also take 2 different thyroid supplements that have some zinc and selenium in them. Once again, this helps support my thyroid dealing with Hashimoto's disease. So that is what I am currently taking. I have also before in the past taken turmeric. I don't have any right now. I just happened to run out. I'll probably, when I put in my supplement order halfway through next month, I'll probably go ahead and order more. I don't always take the same things. Sometimes I just kind of hop around. I'll take things out, add things in, see if I notice a difference and go from there. So that is what I take. Now, this class is a little bit shorter. I anticipate that it is going to be that way because I anticipated a longer Q&A section because people are just constantly asking me about vitamins, minerals, and supplements. So I covered the most common deficiencies and the most common things we need to do. Now I'm just going to go ahead and stop screen sharing so I can see you guys' chat. Where is it at here? Sorry, guys. Having 2 screens is wonderful because everything is so large, but sometimes it can be a little disorienting. Oh, hi. Hello, everyone. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Justin says, thank you for all the educational content you put out there for us. Thank you. Oh, that's the millennial heart. My daughters are like, you need to do this now. Sorry, I'm a millennial. It is what it is. Looking for ways to lower potassium levels. Very interesting, Bill. And Justin is correct that magnesium can lower potassium, but you need to be careful. Oh, wow, Justin, thank you. Love it. Yes, magnesium can lower potassium. Definitely stay on top of those levels. Keep them checked because magnesium actually, we will see this sometimes. It actually even happened to myself where if you're supplementing magnesium and you're already deficient in potassium, you can end up super deficient in potassium, also associated with dehydration. So just keep checking those levels. And guys, all of this should be covered by your insurance. Check in with your doctor. Like I said, it's a quick and easy blood test, should be free. So just stay on top of all this stuff and you're going to be healthier for it. Okay. Christina says, I take a vegan liquid iron. Mary Roos. Okay. I do take it with all of my other supplements in the morning on an empty stomach. I feel totally fine. But do you recommend taking iron and then taking a multivitamin and collagen later in the day? How long do you recommend waiting to take the multivitamin and collagen after the iron? Is a vegan-based iron just as effective as the non-vegan? Yes. Yeah. So when it comes to supplementation, yes, they find the things that have the iron, they isolate that, they can put it in the nice concentrated form. Absolutely. So when it comes to, vegan versus, meat-based iron products, doesn't matter. Equally effective. Mary Roos is nice. The liquid form, I feel like it's pretty well absorbed. I love that it's not giving you any side effects. As far as the iron interacting with the multivitamin, it depends. Does the multivitamin have any magnesium, potassium, calcium? If it's got minerals in it, you're probably going to want to change the timing there. You want to separate them at least 2 hours if possible. Oh, sorry guys. I don't know why that just happened. Probably this. But anyway, as far as the collagen, no, it shouldn't affect the collagen. You don't have to worry about that. So as long as you separate the iron from the other minerals, you're probably going to be okay. It's not giving you symptoms. Awesome. Love it. Thoughts on magnesium to help with teeth clenching or grinding? Ooh, Justin, that is so interesting. So we do know that magnesium in general helps with muscle function, helps with muscle cramping, helps with all of that. So I can see in theory that potentially this could help as well, but it kind of depends. Is the teeth clenching and grinding due to like stress and tension? Then the magnesium, well, magnesium can also help with anxiety, but it just depends. How bad is the anxiety? Is it even anxiety related, or is it just something that's happening like in your sleep subconsciously due to the muscles? If it is just due to like the muscles themselves and not necessarily stress and anxiety, I think the magnesium is going to be more likely to help. If the clenching and grinding is due to severe anxiety, I don't.
Hank
Oh,
Williams Jr.,
hold on. Somebody's
Tim Raw, Chris Stapleton.
unmuted. Hold on a second. I don't know what just happened. I think we're good. All right. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what it is due to. So I don't know. Hope that helps. Sorry. A lot of times these questions are hard because it's like, I don't know your particular situation or history, but depends on the root cause. Turmeric, how much and how to take it. Okay, so with the turmeric, you can take it pretty much any time of day. I generally say take it with food because it can cause digestive issues in some people. And if you don't tolerate it, don't worry about it. I have a lot of people who get back to me and say, it gave me heartburn. Then don't worry about it. It's not for you. Stick with like your omega-3s and other anti-inflammatory substances. As far as how much, 400 milligrams might be a good dose for that. It just kind of depends. It depends on how bad, I'm assuming you're taking it for joint pain. It depends on how bad your joint pain is. I like to personally start low and go slow. Start out with 1 capsule, which usually is like 1 to 200. And then you can add more if necessary. You don't want to be going crazy and taking like 1,000 daily or something like that, just because that just seems like a really high amount. But yeah, start low and go slow and see where you end up with that. I take magnesium glycinate at night because it helps me sleep. Can I add my vitamin D and K with it? Absolutely. D and K get along just fine with magnesium. That's a really common question that I get. And yep, good to go there. What do you suggest if you think your cortisol is too high and increased belly fat? Okay, John, if you check out my weight loss class, and then I also have a stress and anxiety class, I'm not sure if you're in my app, but if you are in my app, the weight loss and the stress and anxiety class, those two do massive deep dives into cortisol production, how to alleviate it. Also, the ebooks that accompany those, it just spells it out right there. If you don't want to have to sit there and watch an 1.5 hour long class, which I totally get, check those out because it's a really huge topic. It's kind of too much to address in this short period of time, but those classes will do wonders for helping with that. Thank you. Thank you. Long question. I appreciate your reply. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Awesome. Is blackstrap molasses a good source of iron and magnesium? Oh my goodness. To be honest with you, Ed, I'm not 100% sure. Let me see if I can get some nutrition facts on this real quickly here. Blackstrap molasses, my goodness. Oh gosh, can I get a label? Oh, okay. Yeah, it says right here that it has 20% of the iron that you need in the day. I need, I wish I could just see the label. Okay, yeah, so it's got iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus. Ooh, so it's got a lot of it's got a lot of minerals in one little thing. So that makes me nervous because those are going to compete with each other. So, yeah, it's got iron, magnesium, and calcium. So I don't know if that's going to be the best choice for those because they're all going to be competing with one another. So I don't know. I would question it, Ed, because it's got just too much going on. It's kind of like the multivitamins, like too much of a good thing, if that makes sense. Bovine organ supplements are trending. Good or waste of money? Okay, so I like organ supplements sometimes. It just depends on exactly what you're trying to take care of. But I do think that organ supplements can be beneficial for some people in some cases, especially if you're trying to help with one certain thing. Like you're trying to help with your liver health. So you take a bovine liver supplement. Yes, I think that can have value. Basically, it just like takes the organs of an animal, chops them up, puts them into supplement form, and a lot of times that will kind of give us the building blocks to then support our own organ. Now, if you're someone who's already healthy and who has decent nutrition, probably not necessary. But if you're someone who feels like you need the liver support or the kidney support or even the thyroid support, sometimes we see that as well. It can be helpful. So it just kind of depends on your specific situation. It's not something I take. I just don't feel like I need it, but I have suggested it in the past to certain patients of mine who just needed that support. So once again, it's a maybe. Sorry, guys, but that's how it is in healthcare. If you ever hear someone giving you like black and white, da 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 da, they're probably full of it. Okay. It's always a nuanced response because every single thing in our body is connected to everything else. And if you make a little change here, it can affect everything else. And a lot of times the gains that we make are, minor little steps rather than all you need to do is this 2-week crash diet and everything's going to be better. It's just not how it works, unfortunately. Have you heard of adrenal? I have heard of adrenal. Yes. So that related to the cortisol. Yeah, I mean, it can potentially help. It just kind of depends. When it comes to adrenal function, I think that it's really important to dial in on your sleep and your exercise. I personally know you, John, so I know that your sleep and exercise are pretty well dialed in. So if you're still having issues, you can go ahead and try that and see if you feel that it's making a difference. But yeah, definitely you don't want to skip the building blocks, the basic things, which are like eating a good diet, getting in your sleep, getting in your exercise, doing things that will help alleviate your stress, doing things that you love, spending time with loved ones. That is the most important thing. If you're doing all that and feel like you still need a little help, absolutely add in a supplement and see if that gets you that extra little bit. Can you take turmeric with blood thinners and blood pressure meds? I have hip pain and someone suggested it. You need to check in with your doctor, Jennifer, because yes, turmeric can affect blood thinners. It can basically make them more powerful. So just be cautious. Now, as far as blood pressure meds, yeah, that's not a problem. But anytime that you're taking blood thinners, you need to be extremely cautious with everything. Same thing with omega-3, because omega-3 can really help with hip pain as well. It can also make your blood thinners more powerful. It can thin the blood even more. So just be cautious with both of those. Now, I see patients taking both of these, all of the above, all the time, but they get their doctor's blessing. They keep an eye on things. They make sure that they're doing it safely. So it's not an automatic no, but it's just a check in with your doc. When scheduling a private appointment with you, can we send you a list of all the vitamins? Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, Trisha. Hello, it's so good to see you. This is one of my besties. I'm not going to lie. So yes, I prefer that. If you do decide to schedule a private meeting with me, yes, I love to see all of the information ahead because I will sit there and spend hours going through everything and making sure that we check all of the boxes. And I'm one of those like really ridiculously over prepared people. I'm a procrastinator rather than a precrastinator. What is it? I don't know, guys. Listen, I'm tired. I got to go to work. How do I get your app? Okay, so it's on the Apple Store. It's also on Google Play. It's called Pharmacist Jamie's Tips. If you just type in Pharmacist Jamie in the search bar, it should pop right up. How do you feel about moringa? Mm, um, mm, not a big fan. I mean, I've had people tell me that they love it, so far be it from me to say, that's probably not doing anything for you. It's not something I suggest, if that makes sense. But if it's working for you, great. Became a beekeeper this year. What? Currently straining my first honey flow as I type. That's amazing. Recently found out that most store-bought honey is, yes, you're right, unfortunately. Yes. And guys, honey really is a medicine. Once again, I'm going to geek out for a second here, but honey has been used as a medicine throughout the ancient world in multiple different areas of the world. Really, really famous in ancient Egypt for having all kinds of antimicrobial properties. You guys know that I talk about meta honey all the time. This is like a medical grade product made from high quality honey, not the cheap sugar dye crap. And then also Manuka honey. That's another product that I love. But yes, honey is medicinal. Honey is amazing. It is so good for you on so many levels. But unfortunately, yes, a lot of the stuff that you'll pick up at your local Walmart or Target isn't the good stuff. So you want to try and buy local if possible, or at least buy a high quality one. But yeah, if you can make your own, wow, that's absolutely incredible. Justin, you're my new hero. There we go. Not the millennial heart, the cool heart. Very, very cool. I love it. Okay, guys, so it looks like that is all the questions that we have for today. Let me go ahead and stop this recording.